The wrestling world just exploded with the biggest leak of 2026, and trust me when I say this changes absolutely everything you thought you knew about WWE's plans for the Royal Rumble. Roman Reigns is winning the Royal Rumble match in 2026, and this isn't just speculation or wishful thinking from fans anymore, because the information coming out from multiple sources inside WWE has confirmed what many suspected but nobody dared to believe would actually happen. Before we dive deep into this massive revelation, make sure you hit that subscribe button right now because you don't want to miss any breaking news like this. The leak started circulating through insider channels late last week when several credible wrestling journalists began receiving anonymous tips from people claiming to be close to WWE's creative team. What started as whispers quickly turned into a full-blown confirmation as more details emerged about the company's long-term booking plans for their biggest star. Roman Reigns hasn't competed in a Royal Rumble match since 2020, and his return to the iconic match represents a seismic shift in how WWE views both the event and the Tribal Chief's role in the company moving forward. The decision to have Reigns win the Rumble wasn't made lightly, and according to sources this plan has been in development for months, with multiple scenarios being workshopped before creative finally settled on this direction. Understanding why this matters requires looking at where Roman Reigns currently stands in WWE's hierarchy and what winning the Royal Rumble would mean for his character trajectory. The Tribal Chief has dominated WWE programming for years now, holding championship gold and main eventing premium live events across the globe. His storyline with the Bloodline has been one of the most successful long-term narratives in modern wrestling history, generating mainstream attention and creating legitimate stars out of performers like GUSO and Solo Sikoa. Having Reigns enter and win the Royal Rumble adds another layer to his already impressive resume, while simultaneously opening up fresh storytelling possibilities that seemed exhausted just months ago. The timing of this leak is particularly interesting because it comes at a moment when many fans and analysts had written off the possibility of Reigns appearing in the Rumble match itself. Most assumed he would be defending a championship that night or positioned in a separate marquee match that would anchor the card. The fact that WWE is willing to put their top guy in the Rumble match shows how much faith they have in the concept and how they believe Reigns' presence will elevate the entire event rather than diminish his star power. This represents a fundamental shift from how WWE has traditionally used their main event talent during Royal Rumble season, where champions and top stars were often kept out of the match to preserve them for WrestleMania programs. Sources indicate that the decision to book Reigns in the Rumble came directly from the highest levels of WWE management, with significant input from Paul Heyman, who has been instrumental in crafting the Tribal Chief's character over the past several years. Heyman reportedly argued that having Reigns win the Rumble would create an undeniable moment that cements his legacy while giving WWE maximum flexibility in building toward WrestleMania 42. The Wiseman's influence on creative decisions involving Reigns cannot be overstated, and his fingerprints are all over this booking decision, from the strategic timing to the potential opponents Reigns could face on the road to WrestleMania. What makes this leak even more fascinating is the specific details that have emerged about how the Rumble match itself will be structured. Reigns is expected to enter the match late, somewhere between number 27 and 30, giving him the opportunity to eliminate several high-profile names on his way to victory. The booking reportedly calls for Reigns to last approximately 15 to 20 minutes in the match itself, creating several dramatic near eliminations and confrontations with other top stars before ultimately standing tall as confetti falls from the rafters. WWE Creative has specifically designed this layout to maximize the drama while ensuring Reigns looks absolutely dominant throughout his time in the match. The ramifications of Reigns winning the Royal Rumble extend far beyond the match itself and into the WrestleMania season, where WWE has some fascinating options at their disposal. If Reigns wins the Rumble, he gains the traditional prize of choosing which championship he wants to challenge for at WrestleMania. This creates an intriguing dynamic because, depending on who holds the WWE Championship and World Heavyweight Championship at that point, Reigns could feasibly challenge for either title or potentially set up a unification match if circumstances align properly. The flexibility this booking provides is exactly why WWE Creative fell in love with the idea in the first place. Multiple sources have indicated that WWE is considering several different opponents for Reigns at WrestleMania 42, with the Rumble victory serving as the launching pad for whichever direction they ultimately choose. Names being discussed internally include Cody Rhodes in a potential rematch from their previous encounters, Gunther if he's still holding championship gold by that point, or even a surprise opponent that nobody sees coming until the weeks leading up to WrestleMania. The beauty of having Reigns win the Rumble is that it keeps all these options on the table while generating massive interest and speculation from the fanbase, who will spend the next 3 months debating who should face the Tribal Chief on the grandest stage. The leak has also revealed some interesting details about potential moments and spots planned for Reigns during the Rumble match itself. Creative has reportedly discussed having Reigns eliminate multiple former world champions during his run, including at least 2 or 3 names that would generate significant reactions from the crowd. There's also talk of a brief confrontation between Reigns and members of the current Bloodline faction, assuming that storyline is still ongoing by the time the Rumble takes place. These carefully choreographed moments are designed to tell stories within the larger match while building toward the climactic finish where Reigns stands alone in the ring pointing at the WrestleMania sign. Fan reaction to this leak has been predictably mixed, with some celebrating the idea of Reigns in the Rumble while others express concern about a top star taking the spotlight away from younger talent who could benefit from a Rumble victory. These concerns are valid and represent an ongoing tension within WWE booking, where the company must balance featuring established stars with building the next generation of main eventers. However, sources close to the situation insist that WWE Creative has plans in place to elevate multiple performers during the Rumble match itself, ensuring that even though Reigns wins, several other wrestlers will benefit from strong showings and standout moments. The financial implications of this booking decision cannot be ignored either, as WWE continues to operate under new ownership with increased pressure to deliver strong television ratings and premium live event rates. Roman Reigns remains WWE's biggest draw and most recognizable star to mainstream audiences, and featuring him prominently in the Royal Rumble is a strategic decision designed to maximize interest in the event. Early projections suggest that the Rumble could set attendance records if the buzz around Reigns' participation continues to grow, and WWE will certainly leverage his involvement heavily in their promotional efforts leading up to the show. One aspect of this leak that has wrestling observers particularly intrigued is what it means for the title picture heading into WrestleMania season. If Reigns wins the Rumble without holding a championship, that creates a dynamic where he's chasing gold rather than defending it, which would be a refreshing change from his booking over the past several years. This role reversal could inject new life into his character and create sympathy from portions of the audience who have grown tired of his dominance. Conversely, if WWE decides to put a title on Reigns before the Rumble and have him win the match anyway, that creates an even more controversial and heat-generating scenario where he essentially takes an opportunity away from someone else despite already being on top. The technical aspects of how WWE will execute this finish have also been part of the leaked information, with specific details about the final 4 competitors in the match. According to sources, Reigns will be joined in the final moments by 3 other main event level talents, creating a climactic sequence where any of the 4 could conceivably win before Reigns ultimately prevails. This structure ensures that the finish doesn't feel predetermined and maintains tension right up until the final elimination. WWE production staff has reportedly been studying footage from previous memorable Rumble finishes to identify what elements made those moments special and how they can replicate that magic with Reigns in the spotlight. Another interesting wrinkle in this story involves the potential for surprise entrants in the 2026 Royal Rumble match and how they might interact with Reigns. WWE traditionally brings back legends and makes debuts during the Rumble, and sources suggest that at least 1 or 2 of these special appearances will be specifically designed to create moments with Reigns. Whether that means a confrontation with a returning legend or a first-time ever meeting with a debuting star remains to be seen, but the opportunities for creating viral moments are exactly what WWE is hoping to capitalize on by featuring their biggest star in the match. The psychology behind having Reigns win the Rumble also speaks to broader trends in how WWE books their top stars and constructs narratives around major events. In recent years, the company has moved away from the idea that Rumble winners need to be underdogs or rising stars, instead embracing the notion that established main eventers can win the match to set up dream matches or continuation of existing storylines. This philosophy shift reflects WWE's increased focus on creating the biggest possible matches for WrestleMania rather than using the Rumble as a vehicle to launch new stars into the main event scene. While this approach has its critics, it's undeniably effective at generating mainstream interest and creating matches that casual fans want to see. Looking at the historical context of Royal Rumble winners provides additional insight into why WWE might be comfortable having Reigns win the match. Some of the most successful Rumble victories in history have involved established stars using the win to propel themselves into massive WrestleMania matches. The precedent exists for top guys winning the Rumble and it working out perfectly from a storytelling and business perspective. WWE Creative is undoubtedly aware of this history and has likely studied what made those previous Rumble wins successful in hopes of recreating similar success with Reigns in 2026. The leak has also sparked discussion about potential swerves or last-minute changes to the booking, given how far in advance the information has leaked. WWE has a history of changing plans when news breaks early, as they prefer to surprise audiences and maintain the element of unpredictability that makes live wrestling exciting. However, sources insist that the company is committed to this direction and believes that even with the leak circulating online, the execution will be strong enough to overcome any loss of surprise. The feeling internally is that how they tell the story matters more than whether people know the ending ahead of time, and that a well-executed Reigns Rumble victory will resonate regardless of advance knowledge. As we process this information and what it means for WWE programming over the next several months, it's worth considering all the moving parts that need to align for this plan to work perfectly. Reigns needs to remain healthy and available for the event, which is never guaranteed in professional wrestling. The title picture needs to develop in ways that make his Rumble victory and subsequent championship match feel organic and earned. The rest of the roster needs to be positioned in ways that make the Rumble match competitive and unpredictable, even though we now know the ending. These factors and many others will determine whether this leaked plan becomes reality or if circumstances force WWE to pivot in a different direction. The wrestling community's reaction to leaks like this is always fascinating, as fans debate the merits of knowing information in advance versus being surprised on the night of the event. Some argue that leaks ruin the experience and take away the magic of live wrestling, while others contend that knowing the outcome allows them to appreciate the craft and execution more fully. Regardless of which camp you fall into, there's no denying that this particular leak has generated enormous discussion and interest in the Royal Rumble, which is exactly what WWE wants, even if they'd prefer the surprise remained intact until the actual show. If you've made it this far, you're clearly as invested in this story as we are, so make sure you're subscribed to stay updated on every development as we get closer to the Royal Rumble and see whether this leak proves accurate or if WWE throws us all a curveball that nobody saw coming, because in professional wrestling the only certainty is that nothing is ever truly certain until it happens live in front of our eyes.